Good morning, or maybe good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. My name is Erin, and I'm the director and co-creator of World Spine Care Yoga Project. And this is our Wednesday class, so welcome. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, a couple of things that you'll need. A chair that's pretty stable, a towel or a blanket that can be rolled up as a supportive prop for the back. Sometimes we use it with our legs. And then a scarf or a blanket or something similar that allows you to hold it quite wide so that it can go over the head. So those are kind of our tools of the trade. You don't have to have a yoga mat, but if you do prefer to have a yoga mat, you're welcome to. It can go underneath your chair. It helps with a little bit of stability. And just as an awareness, wherever you do have your chair, just that it has that stability on the ground that will inevitably help you feel a little bit more that your chair isn't going to move from under you. So first things first, I'm just going to come to sit in the chair. And one of the ways that I do that is I'm going to place one foot back until I can just feel the edge of the chair with my calf. I'm just going to show you from the side. I'll move kind of back and forth a few times, and I'll let you know if you need to move your chair. Sometimes I'm just showing you a little bit of a better angle. And so I feel that back of the chair with the back of my leg. And then as I start to come toward the chair, instead of thinking that I sit down, I'm going to think that I sit back, and I'm going to wrap my belly muscles in to help support me. I can even use an exhale, or the sound of shh sometimes can help me remember to use those muscles. So I'll take a breath in, and then I'm going to send my bum back and my belly in as I use these big thigh muscles to help guide me back to the chair. I can use my hands as a little bit of that guidance as well. So another thing that sometimes happens when we sit back in a chair is that our knees collapse toward one another. And one of the things that we can just be aware of as we come in and out of that chair is, are my knees, and I'll show you from the front, collapsing in toward one another. And it might feel like that's the natural thing to happen, but what's actually happened is we stop recruiting some of these really big muscles, especially this one, to help us with that movement. So as I do that movement, I'm going to watch that my knees don't come in, and instead I'm going to keep my knees nice and even, use these big muscles, use this big muscle to make my way back to a seat. All right. I think the light's pretty good. Yeah, okay. You can see me pretty good. See the shape of my body at least. And I've got this rolled up blanket behind me. And with the yoga project, we always start with a little bit of breath and mindfulness work just to center ourselves, to kind of quiet some of the extra energy that might be in the body or around us. So I'm going to take this blanket, I'm going to move it up a little bit, and then I'm going to walk my bum back. So just kind of think one cheek at a time, moving your bum back a little bit. And then the rolled up towel or blanket, instead of putting it right in the arch of my low back, I'm going to put it at the top of that arch. So kind of the bottom of my low ribs or my floating ribs, just to give me that little bit of support, so that from there I can sit kind of down into my chair. My knees might go a little bit wider than my hips just because my thighs will spread on the chair, and my feet might not completely touch the ground, and that's okay. As long as I've got some contact there, I'm in pretty good shape, especially for the mindfulness section of our time together. I'm going to place my palms face up on my thighs, and part of that is, if you notice, and you can do this yourself, when you place your hands down on your thighs, your elbows kind of stick out to the sides, and it changes all the way up toward your shoulder blades, just how your arms settle on your back, essentially. And so I'm going to turn my palms up and see if that allows my elbows to kind of settle into my sides a little bit more. And then you can either close your eyes or find one focal point to look at. For this part, preferably that's not actually going to be your screen. Instead, you've got a point in front of you that you can softly focus on. And just taking a couple of breaths there. And then let's take one big inhale and a long exhale, both in and out through the nose. And start to notice the sounds around you, the sounds inside the room, outside of the room. The sound of my voice will be included in that. And instead of investigating each sound with your mind, imagine that you could notice it as sound and then let it go and be open to the next sound that's going to come into your soundscape. And then start to slowly bring your attention to your body, to your feet making contact with the ground, your legs making contact with your chair, your bottom on your chair, your back on your prop. Noticing maybe even your clothing on your body. And as you're noticing your body, just also pay attention to whether your mind goes immediately to the places that are talking the loudest. And see if you can also notice the places that are talking more softly. Meaning, do you notice how your left thigh is feeling? Or what does your left thigh feel like? Can you notice your belly, inhale and exhale? It'll move out ideally as you inhale and in as you exhale, and how that changes your sensation of your clothing on your body. And then following in that line, starting to notice the breath. Where do you notice your breath? Can you notice that it's cool on your nostrils as you inhale and warm as you exhale? Do you notice that when you breathe, underneath your armpits and in your side ribs expand? That the back of your ribs press against your towel or blanket as you breathe in. And slowly allow that breath to just become a tiny bit deeper. So a little bit more time to breathe in just a little bit more air, and just a little bit more time to breathe out that air. Starting to name the breath or notice the breath as an inhale and as an exhale. Thinking again, inhale and exhale. And every time your mind begins to drift away, just bring it back to that simple repetition of inhale, exhale, or you could think in, out, or you could count 1, 2. And slowly bringing your mind back to the breath if it's drifted away. And then back to your body. Feeling your hands on your thighs, your back supported, your feet on the ground. And bringing your awareness to the sounds around you. And then taking a nice big breath in and letting it slowly go. Allowing the eyes to flutter open. Welcome. And just notice the way that you feel now. That might be different than the way that you felt before. It's always a really big part of yoga practices is to be in a place of observation, to kind of slow down, to notice, and to create an observer self. So what I like to say is that you get to watch the movie and be in it then. So let's inhale, our shoulders rolling up toward our ears, and then exhale very slowly, let the shoulders come down and back. And we're going to find that movement a couple of times, inhaling up and exhaling down. The arms can drift next to the sides as you do that, inhaling up and exhaling down. Good, inhaling up and exhaling down. Let's bring our arms out in front of us and bring one hand to one shoulder, the other hand to the other shoulder, and kind of stack. So you have to kind of scoop underneath. So one on top, one underneath, and stack the elbows. You're going to lift your elbows up and let your upper back round a little bit. You could even rest your head down into that hole. So this is step one. I'll always kind of give you different options. So this is step one, and just breathing right in between the shoulder blades. Another option would be to lift the hands up and try to hook a finger, keeping the elbows high. Good, one more breath in here. Big exhale as you slowly lower the elbows. Good, opening the arms up, sending them out to the sides for a moment. Big breath in, long breath out. So throughout our practice, we can try to make the sound of the ocean or fogging up a mirror in our throat. And it's a very, very gentle constriction of the vocal cords. That's all that's happening there. And what it does is it slowly elongates the breath and slowly elongates the exhale. So inhale and exhale. And if you think of it as kind of a personal breath, so that the sound with the mouth closed is happening on the inhale and the exhale, but very gently. So you can try that out during the practice. Again, it kind of keeps you mindful, so a full mind of your breath, of this being a breath and mindfulness practice, no matter kind of what we're doing. So we're gonna start to walk our bums forward and let that towel or blanket kind of fall behind us. And walk forward. Good. And we're just gonna get a little bit of movement into our ankles and our arms as well. So if for any reason, due to what's going on with your own body, you're unable to lift your arms, both of your arms all the way up, we can instead lift them straight out to the side. So I'll often demonstrate with the arms all the way up, but just know you can lift them just out to the sides or just in front instead. Okay, so we're going to inhale the arms up to the best of your ability as we lift our heels as well. So if you see, I'm pointing into my feet. And then exhale as slowly as you can. Both are going to come down. Good. Inhale slowly up. And exhale slowly down. Good. Inhale slowly up. And exhale slowly down. Good. Another one like that. Slow, 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 coming to a point. And exhale slow, slow, slow as they come down. Great. Let's bring our hands to our knees, and we're going to do a couple of seated cat-cows. So I'm gonna turn to the side just so that you can see me. My bum is rested at the end of my seat, and for my chair, it's kind of okay. My hips are pretty much across from my knees. It will, however, make my life a little bit easier, and it will be easier to sit if I get my bum up on something. So what I'm going to do is one foot's going to go back again. I'm going to make sure that as I'm hinging forward, I'm hinging way, way, way down by my hips. So as opposed to rounding my upper back forward, and it's always a great idea if you've got a mirror around when you're practicing. If you're unsure, look in the mirror, or if you have a partner nearby or you're practicing with someone, they can also give you that feedback, because sometimes we don't always know how our body is moving in space. So you can start to hinge the hips forward, and we're going to do 3 times. I'm going to keep my hands on my little towel. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to press down into my legs as I lift up into my belly and slide my towel or blanket underneath my bum. That just, as you can see right away, my bum gets a little higher, makes it a little bit easier for me to sit like this. And I'm going to put both of my feet on the ground, and we're just going to do a couple cat-cows to wake up the spine. And think of, I'm trying to create a little bit of movement in a lot of spaces. So instead of moving just the head a lot or just the low back a lot, I'm going to try to move the whole structure of that back as I'm doing my seated cat-cow. So I'm going to slide my hands back toward my hips as I slightly look up at the ceiling, and I'm going to wrap my elbows in, so I'm going to really power up my upper back. Good. And then on my exhale, I'm going to find very gentle rounding through each part of the spine, the low, the middle, and the neck. Good. Inhale, an arch, and exhale, rounding as my hands drift toward my knees. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Good. Inhale, arching. And exhale, rounding. Inhale, arching. And exhale, rounding. Good. One more. Inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Slowly make your way back to a neutral spine. And today, since last week we did a lot of seated poses, today we're going to do a lot of things standing around the chair. So we're going to start to get up out of the chair using what we call the chair sun salute. So one foot is going to go back. That lets that knee drop down toward the ground a little bit more. My foot is on the earth. The other one's underneath my knee. And then it's going to take kind of a couple steps, and we're going to do it a couple of times. So the key is I want to make sure that I know where my chair is, and if you're ever unsure, you just bring your hands there. So same as before, you could lift your arms just out to the sides and then down, or all the way up. I'll show you all the way up, but just know that that's an option. Inhaling the arms up, and exhale the arms slowly down. Good. Inhale, I'm going to draw my arms up, belly in, bum's going to stay back. I'm going to use my big thigh muscles to come forward, step forward, arms up. Exhale, slowly down. Good. Inhaling the arms up, one foot goes back. Exhale, bend my legs, my bum goes back, my belly comes in, my hands come to guide my bum back to my chair so I know where I am. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms down. Let's switch feet. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, teeter-totter forward. Arms come forward and up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. That same foot goes back. Exhale, bum goes back, belly in, hands come back to guide. Good. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms down. Switch feet. Inhale, arms up. Exhale them down. Inhale, my belly's already supporting me. My bum stays on my chair. Use my legs to lift me up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. That one foot goes back. Exhale, watch your knees as you come back so that you can see that they're not collapsing in toward one another. Good. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. And we're going to switch feet. So we're going to do that one more time. And this time we're going to stay standing. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms start to come forward. My body comes forward. My bum stays back. Use my legs. Come all the way up to stand. Exhale, arms down. Good. I can feel at least my shoulders and my body is just starting to wake up a little bit more. So I'm going to come to the back of my chair. So again, you don't have to move your chair. And I'm going to bring my hands to the back of my chair. And as I inhale this time, I've got space between my feet. So my feet aren't super, super wide, but they're not right next to one another. So this actually asks for quite a bit of balance. I'm going to put my feet right underneath where I think my leg bone, my big leg bone, goes into my hips. So it doesn't go into my hips where my outer viscera says, so where all this stuff says it goes. It's a little bit in from there, so a little bit of space between the feet. And then hands on the back of the chair. I'm going to stand up nice and tall, and I'm going to feel a little bit of engagement in my belly. When you feel that engagement in your belly, if you're unsure, one of the things you can do is go shh. And then when you go shh, if you feel like everything kind of wraps in and kind of lifts up a little bit, that's what we're looking for. So that kind of sensation of a wrapping in and a tiny bit of a lift up of the skin of the belly. So we're going to take an inhale, and I'm going to slowly start to rise onto my toes. And then on my exhale, as slowly as I can, I'm going to let my heels go down. So this might be very, very small amounts. If you have arthritis in your ankles and your feet, you might find that this is, it's a bit more of a challenge. So just think of pressing into those toes, spread the toes nice and wide. You might lift those heels up just a little bit and then back down, and just experiment. So get curious. Inhale, slowly lifting up. Exhale, slowly depressing them down. Good. Another like that. Inhale, lifting up. Remember, the belly is lifting up too. Exhale down. Good, another like that, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Good, this time when we go up, we're gonna go up and we're gonna balance. So inhaling up, exhaling, staying, and then you get to decide how much of your hands are touching the chair. So one of the things I like to do is lift one hand. And then I'm gonna see if maybe I can lift the other hand. Good, take one more inhale there. And as slowly as you can, both hands on the chair, try to very, very slowly lower your heels to the ground. Good. And then you can always give everything a little bit of a shake. Wonderful. I'm going to stay at the back of the chair here, and we're actually going to do a chair pose. So it's kind of that intermediary step from when we were doing our sun salutations or getting up and down out of the chair. So I'm going to soften into my knees. My feet are going to stay where they are. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to push down into my feet and think of pushing out with my heels. So I'm going to think of pushing down into my feet and out into my heels. And if you bring your hands to the sides of your hips, just notice if you feel some engagement, shift and change there as you press out into those heels. So soft knees, and then I'm going to start to send my bum back. I'm going to look down and I can see my whole foot there. I'm using my chair as a little gauge, and I'm going to decide how comfortable it feels to bend those knees, maybe just a little bit. Yeah, and I'm going to keep pressing out into my heels. Good. Ooh, I can feel that working. Keep pressing out into the heels. Nice big breaths in and out. If you feel okay with the hands on the chair, see what happens if you lift one hand out, maybe the other hand out. Maybe they go to the sides or up toward the sky. So your choice. Inhaling here, keep pressing out into those heels. Lift up into that belly. Think of the back becoming long and lots of space coming in between your hips and your low ribs. Good, one more breath in. If the hands are up, exhale, bring them down to the chair. Press down into your feet as you slowly come up to stand. Good. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hello, body. We're going to turn sideways at the back of the chair, bringing one hand to the back of the chair, and we'll do both sides. I'm going to lift again. If the hand can't come up toward the sky, you can bring it to your chest. And we're just going to find a little bit of a side bend. So I'm going to think that this side, I'm trying to get this side to get long. So I'm going to inhale up and over. See how that feels. Again, the arm can be up. And I want to be able to support it into my belly. So I'm going to do my shh check. So shh. Good, feeling that engagement. See how that feels. Only go as far as it feels comfortable. So if anything starts to kind of pinch or react in any way at all, you just go a little less. So instead of not doing it at all, just do less. So that might be lifting the arm up, and that is already elongating that side body. Good. Take one more inhale there. And exhale, come back to stand. Good. And then you can turn around and do the other side. You don't have to move your chair. Again, I'm doing that just so that you can see me. Same thing, a little bit of distance away from the chair. My legs are engaged. I've got my belly lifting up. Then I'm going to lift the arm up or keep the arm at my chest. I'm going to find a little bit of a side bend, imagining that I'm creating space in between each one of my ribs and each one of the backs of the vertebra on that side. And you might notice you have a side where it feels really good to do this, and a side where it does not feel very good to do this, or a side where you can go a little further and it feels good, and a side where you have to go a little bit less for it to still feel okay, feel like a good range of motion. That's totally normal, and let that be. So really listen to that. That's your body letting you know that it's not symmetrical, which is pretty normal. Couple of big breaths in and out here, making sure to remember to find that engagement. One more breath in and exhale, slowly come back to center. Wonderful. I'm going to stay behind the chair and just get a little bit of engagement in our legs. I'm just going to move again so that you can see me. So I'm going to bring my outside leg up. So we keep the inside leg as the supporting structure, the leg we're going to stand on, and the outside leg is the leg that we'll do things with. And this just helps if you're ever feeling unstable. We've got the chair there, definitely, but ideally we're not leaning into the chair. We're using it as just a balance guide, and we're going to play a lot with lifting the hand off the chair. So by lifting and changing what we do with the outside leg, if we ever don't feel stable, all we have to do is put that leg down. So it's just a little bit of a safety mechanism when dealing with balance. And balance is just such an important one to keep going as our life progresses, because the information we get from our feet is quite a lot as far as balance goes. So we want to keep those little bit of movements happening in the feet all the time. So if your feet also get tired, so if they get a little achy inside the foot, that's part of it is because some of those stabilizing muscles that are really small, intricate little muscles in the feet, they're working for us. So we just want to, again, be within a realm of sensation that feels okay. So I'm going to lift my right leg up, and notice right away if you lean toward your chair and see if you can pick your body up a little bit. So that same feeling in the abdominal structure and a lightness in the hand on the chair. And then I'm going to see how does it feel to bend that knee up and lift the knee up. Notice as soon as you want to bend that bottom knee and tuck the bum under, that's when we're going to back off. So the knee might come up just a little bit before that starts to happen. So just notice, when does the standing leg want to all of a sudden bend and tuck my bum under, and I'm going to stay away from that. So I'm only going to lift as high as feels okay. Good. So I'm going to take an inhale here, and exhale, I'm going to lift my knee up. Good. Inhale here, and exhale, I'm going to straighten into the leg. Inhale, bend the leg. Good. Exhale, straighten the leg. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. And I really do want to come all the way to straight, especially that last 10% of movement. Good. Inhale, straighten, or bend. Sorry. Exhale, straighten. Good. Now you're going to turn your toes to the side. Keep that leg straight. And you're going to inhale, lift the foot up a little bit. Exhale, lift it down. This is a tiny bit, so you can see just a little bit of movement. Inhale the foot up. Exhale the foot down. Good. One more like that. Inhale the foot up. Exhale the foot down. Turn the leg back in. Bend the knee. Place the foot down on the ground. So it's quite a bit of work into that hip flexor and thigh. Good. That's what we want. A little bit of awakeness. And then you can turn around to the opposite side. Feel that stability, that nice long body. And then this side, again, it might be different. So as I start to pour my weight into my standing foot, I'm going to notice, am I leaning toward my chair? So do I start to do this kind of a thing when I lift that foot? Am I lifting the whole leg with the whole body? And what I want to do is lift the leg with the muscles that lift the leg. Yeah, and that's going to help me even in walking. So I've got my hand on my chair. I'm going to lift up into my belly, and then I'm going to send that outside leg, always the outside leg, up. I'm going to see how it feels to lift it up a little bit and then bend the leg. And notice, when does my bottom want to tuck under and my bottom knee want to bend a lot to make that happen? And instead, I'm going to stay nice and tall. Good. Big breath in here. Good. Exhale, straighten into that leg. Inhale, bend. Yeah, and it might get shaky. Mine's really shaky there. Good. Exhale, straighten. And that's partially because we're working a muscle that's only job is to kind of do that last bit of extending the leg. Good. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Watch that you're not leaning into the chair. Exhale, straighten. Good, one more inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten, and then turn the toes out to the side a little bit. Your leg's going to be low but straight, and we're going to keep it straight, and then we're going to lift it up just a little bit, woo, and down just a little bit. Good, lifting it up just a little bit, so your heel might be right near the floor, and down. Good, inhaling up a little bit, and down a little bit. Good, one more inhale up. Exhale, down, turn the leg back to center, bend the leg and press the foot into the ground. Good. A little bit of wake up. You're going to stay behind your chair, and we're going to do a little bit of a warrior sequence. So you're going to just be able to see the back of my chair here, just so that you'll be able to hopefully see most of my body. So I'm going to start facing the chair. I'm going to find softness in my knees, and again, that feeling in my belly. So the sound is just to help the engagement of those muscles, just to remind myself of that. Hands on my chair. I'm going to step my left foot back a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, until I feel still stable, but I've got a little bit of distance away from my chair. And then I'm going to turn the heel down. And the first thing I'm going to look at is this front shin. So is my knee way over my foot, or is my knee way beyond? And of those two, if I'm going to choose, I would love it if my knee was over my ankle. It's okay if it's a little back from that, so if it's more toward the heel side. The thing I'm going to try to avoid, just because it doesn't feel so great on the knees after a time, is my knee going past my midfoot. Sometimes it just adds what's called shearing force into the knee. It doesn't always feel so fantastic. So I'm just going to avoid that. And then right away here, so my hips, you can tell my hips are slightly open. Look down at your knee and see if your knee has turned in. So it's gone toward where your other leg was when you were standing. And bring your hand, if you feel stable, you can keep one hand at the chair. Bring your hand to the outside of your leg and press into your hand a little bit. So press the outside of the leg behind you a little bit. So we're going to try to keep that knee nice and over the ankle, so it doesn't come in, doesn't go out, it just stays right over the ankle. I'm just going to show you what I mean by it coming in. So as I'm looking at my leg, I'm making sure that my knee is not turning in too much, yeah? So instead, I want to try to keep it forward, which might mean I've got to turn this back hip in a little bit too. Okay. So let's take a break out of that front leg for a moment and just straighten that front leg. Good. And then keeping your hand on this back hip, we're going to kind of send the back hip behind us. So think of pushing into this back hand. And then I might bring my forearm down to the back of my chair. I'm going to keep my front leg super straight, and I'm going to engage the muscles that lift my kneecap. So you can look at your knee and feel your knee, and just notice what happens when I lift my kneecap. What happens when I engage these muscles here. That might feel all right. If you want to, you can come a little bit lower, and then back hand can stay at the waist, or it can go up toward the sky, and we're in a triangle pose. Good, so taking a nice big breath in here. Long breath out. Good, big breath in. Long breath out, hand comes to the waist. Use this hand to help lift you up. You can also engage these muscles on your side body. Take a big breath in there. And then on your exhale, you're going to bend into your front leg. So we're in a warrior two stance. You can keep your front hand on the chair, and the back arm is going to come behind you. There, you can see almost all my hand. And then that arm's going to stay behind you. And I'm not turning my whole body because my knee's going to turn in as well. So my hips are still kind of facing off at an angle. They're not out to the side. That's quite difficult to do. And then I'm going to lift this front arm as well. So depending on how your balance is feeling, you might keep your hand on the chair, or you might experiment with lifting your hand up. Taking a big breath in. Long breath out. Imagine relaxing your low back and feeling that lift up in your belly. Good. Take one more inhale here. Good. Exhale, bring the hand to the chair if it's not already, and straighten into the front leg for a moment. Good. We're going to bring the hand down to the chair. We're going to bend into the front leg. I'm going to bring my back hand toward the chair as I turn my body toward the chair. Lean forward a little bit. Walk my foot in, and then come to stand. Great, and we're going to do that on the other side. You don't need to move your chair. I'm just going to move my chair so that you'll be able to see me. There we go. So same thing on this side. I'm going to find a little buoyancy in my knees, so a little bit of ability to move my knees so they're not locked. Lift up into my belly, and I'm going to step my right foot back this time. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to turn the back heel down. And then I'm going to take a look. So if right away you notice that knee is forward, instead of moving the front foot forward, what happens if you maybe move the back foot back a little bit? You're in a deeper lunge, but you've got the chair there for support. And just see how that feels. Maybe that's the range of motion that your body feels comfortable with. Good. And then we're just going to check on those few things. So I'm going to look and see if my knee is over my ankle. If it's starting to turn in, I'm going to press into the outside of the leg. So I can always bring my hand there and press into the outside of my leg as a reminder. Good. And I'm going to spread my toes nice and wide. Try to get my feet in. If you're in shoes, I know some people need to wear shoes all the time. That's totally cool. Think of even inside your shoe that you can spread your toes wide and actually use your whole foot. Good. Take a nice big breath in there. And then exhale, slowly straighten into that front leg, much as we did in the leg extensions, the standing leg extensions. And you're using those muscles of the thigh to lift the kneecap. So it might kind of feel what it's like to relax those muscles, and then feel what it's like to use the muscles of the thigh and lift that kneecap. Back hand, you're going to press into that back hand. So kind of press the back hip away a little bit. Find a little bit of movement there. Support again in the belly. So good. And then I'm going to start to, like, my whole body is staying very sturdy, like a piece of wood. So my torso is going to stay nice and sturdy as I start to lean toward the back of the chair a little bit. I might keep my hand there. I might come to my forearm. I might start to slide my arm down a little bit more. So it just depends on your body and what feels sustainable. Use the muscles of that front thigh again. So really use those muscles. Find the muscles of the lift of the belly, and then maybe that top arm comes up toward the sky. Nice big breath in. Long breath out. Breath in. Long breath out. Good. Another one like that. Good. One more breath in. Exhale, the hand's going to come down to the hip. Good. Bend into that front leg. Going to lift the torso back up. So we're in that warrior 2. So we're going to feel our legs down into the ground. I'm pressing a little bit into that outer thigh, and I can feel the back of my bum lighting up a little bit. And then my back arm is going to reach behind me. My gaze can be forward. And then I'm going to see, do I feel stable enough? Do I feel okay enough to lighten my front hand on the chair, or maybe even to lift it? Look down at that front knee. Notice if it's coming in. If it's coming in, steer your hips forward a little bit more instead. Good. Couple of breaths here. Can you relax your shoulders and your neck and send your energy out your fingertips? One more breath in. Exhale the hand back to the chair. Good. One more breath in. Good. straighten into that front leg for a little break, and also just so you can feel that last moment of straightening. The front arm's going to come around, soften back into that front knee, turn the back heel up. My torso is going to come forward, so I'm going to lean my torso, not my upper back, but my whole body, because I want all that weight over that front leg. And then I'm going to walk the back foot in, 1, 2, 3, and come up to stand. Good. So let's grab our strap, just checking on our time. Okay, good. I'm going to just do a little bit with our arms as we're standing. So we're going to take this strap. And again, those of you who are having trouble with mobility of the arm being able to go above basically shoulder level, instead, you're going to do kind of the first part of this, up and down, maybe the back part of it, up and down, just to find the mobility that you do have. I'll show the full version where we go up and over, but I know that might not be available to all bodies, so just do what's best for you. So I'm going to take my strap, and the key here is it going to be able to go over my head, so just over my head, and will I, without having to adjust it, be able to let my arms come back? So if you normally have some mobility issues, you can try this out, and the key is stay away from pain. So if anything causes any sort of pain, you're just going to do less, not do nothing. Yeah? So we'll just do a little bit less if that's the case. So I want to keep the tautness in my scarf. So just watch if it starts to droop. I want to keep it nice and taut. So I'm really using the muscles of my back and my arm and even my chest to do that. I've got a little bit of buoyancy in my knees again, so a little bit of there, and I've got that feeling in my tummy. I'm going to inhale, my arms are going to go up, and exhale, they're going to come straight back down. So I'm just going to try that out. And I'm, remember, pulling it apart so it doesn't go loose. Inhaling up, and exhaling down. Good, and now I'm going to inhale up, and exhale behind me. Inhale up behind. Exhale down in front. Good, you might have to make an adjustment to your scarf, so do that now. And for those of you who that didn't feel so fantastic for, especially if you found anything that went into a realm of pain, then you're just going to go straight up in front of you and down. And that's getting some mobility in there, and that's what we want. So inhaling up, exhaling down and back. Notice what's happening in your belly. Inhale up, exhale down. Good. If you've got a mirror nearby, notice if one side wants to go up before the other. I just noticed in the video that I had one arm that led. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Good. One more. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Last one. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Good, good. Yeah, very awake arms for me. And we're going to do a little bit of work where we use the seat of the chair. And the key is, if the seat of the chair is too low for you for what we're doing, then you just turn that chair around and you use the back of the chair instead. So I'm just going to show the seat of the chair options, but please know that if at any time that feels like it's too low down, just use the back of the chair instead. So you bring your prop to you. So I want to find that buoyancy in my legs again. And then that same thing is what we did with the chair pose and sitting up and down out of the chair. I'm going to send my bum back. I'm going to lift up into my belly, and I'm going to bring my hands to the seat of my chair. So you can see I've got all of these kind of angles in my body, right? And this heavy part of my body is right over the part that's going up and down. So if you think of me as a building, that's essentially what I'm trying to do. I'm really using my big muscles here. Hands are on the bottom of the chair, and I'm going to walk my feet a little wider. So it takes a couple of steps to do that. So step one foot out, step the other foot out, step, and then you can heel toe your feet out. I'm going to straighten into my legs, see how that feels. my toes are facing forward. So if I did it without a chair, you'd see my legs are here, my toes are facing forward. I'm really lifting up into my belly. So the propensity is going to be to give up the belly, and we want to lift up into the belly. My hands are on my chair. I'm going to take a nice big breath in and a long breath out. And then I'm going to see how that feels. If that feels okay, maybe I'll lower my forearms down to maybe my roll there. Good. Another thing that you can do is bring your hands to the back of the chair, and that'll make your body feel quite long. That's going to be particularly for my friends who still have quite a bit of mobility in the shoulders. Good. And then notice, where is the weight in your feet? Is it all in the heels? Is it all in the toes? Are you pushing into the chair to help you stay up? If you are, it's maybe a good indicator that you want to lift up into those belly muscles and you want to come up a little higher instead. Good. So a couple of breaths just here. And I'm going to keep my left forearm or my left hand on the seat of the chair. And I'm going to bring my opposite hand to my hip to low back area. So if you can feel where the crest of your hip is, I'm essentially going to bring my hand along there. See how that feels? And turn my chest to the side. So I'm coming into a little bit of a twist. Good. Lifting up into my belly. Pressing my feet down into the ground. Good, so that I can feel the inside and the outside of my foot. So just watch that you're not rocking into the outside of the foot. So you might be able to see that. So I'm making sure that I'm not going to rock into the outside of my foot. My whole foot's down on the ground. I'm really using my feet. One more breath here. Good. Exhale, come back to center. Now I'm going to do the opposite side. So my right arm is going to come towards center, either my right hand or my right forearm. My opposite hand is going to find the crest of my hip, and then I'm going to turn in the opposite direction. Again, notice your feet. So as soon as it gets complicated upstairs, we tend to kind of forget the base or the basement. And we want to keep that basement nice and sturdy. So just notice my whole foot's on the ground. My weight's distributed evenly between my toes and my heels. I'm lifting up into my belly and I'm breathing. Not much to think about, right? Good. Another breath in there. Good. One more breath in. Long breath out. Bring the hand back down to the seat of the chair. Lift the body up, lift up into the belly. I'm going to soften into my knees and I'm going to rock onto my toes, bring my heels in. Put my weight into my heels, bring my toes in. So I'm going to walk my feet slowly in. Good. And then as I'm coming up, this is a great opportunity to teach how I'm going to come up using those big muscles. So my bum is back. I can see my whole foot. My belly is lifted in. And I'm going to lift. I'm essentially straightening my legs as I'm lifting my torso up. So they all arrive at the same time. Great. I'm just going to take a peek at the time. Good. Okay. So we're going to come back to sit. And another opportunity, always stepping one foot back. There we go. Stepping one foot back. I'm going to bring my bum back. My hands are going to guide me toward my chair. And I find that teeter-totter feeling. And I was working with someone recently, and just another way to kind of think about this, if you're like, oh, I'm not sure what part is staying back and going forward, is if I'm at the side, as I'm getting up and down, I want to think that I'm heading at an angle up. So I'm not trying to sit up, and this goes for if you're coming to sit on the toilet, coming to sit in a chair, trying to get in and out of cars. What I'm trying to do is think that all of the energy of my body and this big old melon of a head, which weighs quite a bit, I'm going to try to get it to go at an angle upward, so that as I'm coming forward, part of what I'm doing is I'm sending that kind of next step forward, right? And that happens because I'm using these big old muscle groups and I'm not allowing my knees to collapse in toward one another. So I get to then also use my bum muscles, which is one of the largest muscles. The gluteus maximus is one of the very largest muscles in the entire body. So I'm getting to use that guy to help me sit up or stand up. So we're sitting down in our chairs. And you can sit at the edge of the chair, or you could do the version where you sit at the back of your chair. We're going to put our feet underneath us, and we're just going to do a little bit to just loosen up anything around the neck or any tension that's come into the neck. So I'm going to take my right hand, and I'm going to place it on the skin underneath my collarbone. So on the skin underneath my collarbone, I'm going to press that hand in toward the chest and let my elbow become heavy. So I'm just tractioning the skin there. My opposite hand can stay at my leg for now, and then I'm just going to let my right ear come toward my right shoulder. They won't actually touch, but a little bit of that idea. And then the next step is let go of your jaw, let your tongue become flat in your mouth. Good, and just breathe into that. Again, just like with any side bending, you might find that there's a side that feels a lot better to do this and a side that can get pinchy and you might get a sensation in. Just do a little less. Just don't let it hang quite as much. But instead of not doing the movement, just do a little bit instead of a lot. If you've got the head over, you can also take that opposite arm, that's my left arm, and let it hang toward the ground. Or I could even think of imagining that I'm trying to pick up a suitcase or a grocery bag. And then I can experiment with sending that arm behind me, out to the side, in front. Nice long deep breaths. Back to the side, down to the ground. And then my right hand's going to slowly slide off. I'm going to bring it to the side of my head, and I'm going to slowly put my head back on. Good. And then we'll do the opposite side. So left hand on the skin underneath the collarbone there. Very gently letting that left ear come toward the left shoulder. And then let go of the jaw, let go of the tongue. Nice long breaths. Watch that you don't push the exhale. Let the exhale be slow and long. If you want, you can send that right arm down toward the ground like you're picking up your groceries or your suitcase. And your arm can come behind you, out to the side, in front. Out to the side and down. Another nice big breath in there. And a long breath out. The hand that's on the chest, slowly removing it, bringing that hand to the side of the head and lifting the head back up. Good. Good. And then it's a bit of an energizing breath, but it's a good one just to kind of get rid of any extra tension that might be building. So we're going to do a lion's breath. So you're going to inhale and you're going to scrunch your face up. And on your exhale, you're going to stick your tongue out and go, make the sound of like you're fogging up a mirror. And you can even roll your eyes back into the back of your head. Okay, so it's very pretty. And it's only fair, so I'm putting this up on the internet for all perpetuity, so you can enjoy. So big inhale, scrunch the face up. Exhale. Good, inhale. Stick the tongue out. Last one. Good. Always like it. Makes my jaw release and my tongue release. If you're seated at the front of your chair, I'm just going to work your bum off of your roll, and then we'll work back. So one cheek at a time, and come back to sit at the back of the chair with support. I'm going to end with a little bit of mindfulness practice again. So palms can rest up, palms up on the leg. They could rest one inside of the other in your lap if you'd like. And either close the eyes or soften the gaze. And just take a moment just to notice your breath in your body. Notice your general state of being. How do you feel now? That might be different than how you felt when we started. Allow the breath to be long and natural. So letting go of ujjayi breath or the oceanic breath. So that sound in the throat, letting that go. And that doesn't mean that you have to start breathing shallowly. You can still breathe quite deep. Let's listen to the sounds around us. And noticing our body, our feet on the ground, our hands on our legs, our bottom on the chair. And noticing our breath. And I want you to bring to mind something in your life or in the natural world or even in your imaginary life. Something or someone, it could be an object, a pet, a person, a place, that gives you a sense of love and peace. This is also a time for those who worship. You could bring to mind the being or the sense that you get when you are worshiping. So bring to mind that person, place, or thing, imagined or reality, or your belief, that brings or elicits a sense of love and peace. Every time the mind forgets that thing, slowly bring it back to the thing that gives you a sense of love and peace. If the mind is forgotten, bringing it back again to that sense of love and peace. Breathing into that awareness again. edge go. Noticing if the sense of love and peace remains. Bringing your mind back to your body. Noticing where it makes contact with the ground of the chair, your props. Bringing your awareness back to the sounds around you. Taking a breath into that and letting it go. Slowly allowing the eyes to flutter open. And thank you. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, those who are live. This is first taped on Facebook Live, and then we will upload this later to our YouTube channel. And then next week, Leticia will do one in Spanish, and we have a Spanish playlist and an English playlist if you have any Spanish speakers in your community that might benefit from this. And we thank you so much. If you ever want to donate, you can go to World Spine Care, find the Yoga Project or via our Facebook page, and donate directly to the Yoga Project. We are all volunteers, so we don't make any money, but we bring these practices to communities who wouldn't otherwise have the financial structure to be able to be trained in this. And we train teachers who are interested community members who themselves benefit from this practice to teach their own community. And we support that education. And so if you want to support that or getting us there to be able to teach and support those communities, then you can donate. And no matter what, we thank you. And please be well, be happy, be healthy. Thank you.